there's a great talk by Alan Watts, and he's talking about the difference between I can't remember how he phrased it. It's like the uh, not material, but like the engineering model of the universe versus um, yeah, a more mystical. And the difference between something that is engineerable versus, I should figure out his terms before I butcher this, but basically he's saying, look, you can take apart a bicycle and look at all its parts and look under a microscope and then put the bike back together. You cannot do that with a dog because it's not the sum of its parts. All it's all connected. And he uses that to explain that the same is true with the universe. The idea of things, everything in the universe, it's not separate. It's just a measurement. In the same way that on a ruler, if something is 6 inches, that's just a measurement of its length. This is a measurement of space in the one of the universe, but there's all connected. Organic versus mechanical. That's what it is, right? Yeah. Mm. Tahoe's your state of mind. I like it. Seventh year and fourth year in conclave. Sweet, Blake. And I was listening to another Alan Watts. I go back to him all the time, and I've been listening to something over I guess on the ride home, and he was talking about this idea, that the idea of it's our religion of science that creates things like our view of the universe. Meaning, we feel there's this belief that if you break things down into their smallest pieces, we'll understand that everything is made up of atoms. But wait, we realize no, that it's not made of atoms. There's a smaller, there's smaller pieces, and so it's like, and the dimensions of an atom, are these cosmic sizes between electrons and nucleuses and things like that. And so we have there's this scientific belief that you can cut something into a small enough piece that you say that's the basis of everything. But what we've learned is that it's only our instruments that determine what the smallest pieces are, or the largest pieces. And science really is the practice of science is really a practice of measuring, right, and testing. So if something can be measured and tested, then that is truth. If something can't be measured, then it cannot exist. And so as we create new bells and tools to measure things, the universe changes. Isn't that crazy? Well, that's a good question, Blind Mellow. Is energy the smallest piece? Or, I think about fractals a lot when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like, okay, I have cells that make up, systems that make up other systems that come together to form my body, and this body, I consider this to be a unit. But this unit is if the fractal logic makes sense, then if I am a cell and I'm in this larger community and I'm making out with other communities, and we create this system, and so the Earth is this organism with all these different types of cells on it that mostly keeps it in stasis, but the human cell is a bit cancerous at this time. Maybe it will get in check. Maybe the white blood cells of consciousness will find a way to get the body back into balance, because that's what would happen in our body, right? If we had something sickness or cancerous, ideally there are natural cells that keep things in check. And it's when our immunity system can't handle it anymore, that's when sickness takes us over. And so the sickness of the planet, environmentally, is caused because of well, a human consciousness sickness. So if the Earth is a organism, then couldn't that just be a cell, just as I'm a cell, and just as there's cells in me, just as that, and if that's the case, then who's to say that our universe isn't a cell? I mean, the fact that my experience of reality can't comprehend these things because they're far too grand and massive doesn't mean that they don't exist. I can't comprehend the smallness of an atom and a quark, and so I can't comprehend the grandness. I mean, the Horton Hears a Who is maybe a scientific text. This is Stoner Philosophy 101. What if we're just on a piece of dust in somebody else's apartment, and they're sitting around smoking a bowl, and then they're on a piece of dust in some room of another bigger creature smoking a bowl. But I actually enjoy the thought exercise of slipping into that. That I think that at some point in my life I let go of the idea that the universe is understandable by human mind, even the collective knowledge of all humanity throughout all time. That it's just I go back and forth. I think now I'm in the mind that I think that consciousness in this state on this planet, and maybe on other planets, I don't know. I think that physical consciousness in a physical body like we do now is an embryonic stage. It is in the same way that when a fetus is an embryo, and when it's growing, it is. If you took it straight from the uterus out into the world, it can't survive. It needs to build up its physical body. It needs to grow its physical body, its organs, everything. And then it's born, and it mentally can't do much of anything. It's got spirit, it's got love, but it doesn't have consciousness developed, doesn't have the mind. So then over the course of the physical world, in this lifetime, we build up our consciousness. This massive classroom is our womb to grow our spiritual body. And so that's why I don't really resonate with reincarnation, but I think it's part of that process, is that when our fetal, spiritual, embryonic, spiritual state gets to a point of evolving to a certain state, then through death, we are born into another dimension. Maybe that is another dimension in this physical realm, but another time and space, or maybe it's a dimensional thing that we can't comprehend. I mean, it's just a thought exercise because your brain can't go there. But I think that, I very much believe this is a classroom, and I think that the idea of when the enlightened beings, I was just reading the book Be Here Now by Ram Dass, and he talks about his experience meeting Maharaji, and I think that's his name, his guru, and that he was this man. And it was interesting because when I first saw pictures of Maharaji, I had a little judgment. He's fat, balding. I'm like, he doesn't look anything like, a charismatic, like the way we depict Jesus or something. That guy's all ripped. This guy's, but the way he's described by Ram Dass is that, that if he didn't have attendance, he would just wander off out of physical reality. But there's people with him all the time because they really want and desire and need and appreciate his physical presence in this world. And that clearly everyone experiences something that's so beyond the physical body that, the idea of him not having ripped abs is hardly relevant. But I think a person like this is someone who is between worlds, who is graduated basically, but is still in the body. And I think people like Christ or Buddha are this. They've graduated, and then they play the bodhisattva role of staying in this physical reality and interacting with those of us who need to learn. Makes as much sense as anything else to me. So, in some ways, that it relaxes that panic about the world, because from all of these teachers that I just listed, none of those teachers said, "Go forth and stop evil in the world. Go forth and fix the problems. Go forth and the path, as I understand it, is always heal thyself, find clarity, find your peace, be a loving entity in the world, act from love, walk the walk." And so that perspective allows you to live in this fucked up world and not feel like I have to fix it all. I just need to fix myself. And that will have effects that help heal the world. My life has been this lesson for me. There are things that I did so selfishly that ended up having beautiful effects. Initially, when I just started being very honest on the web, there were people like, "Oh my gosh, I so needed to hear that." As I've been doing Hug Nation, I get people going, "Oh, I so needed to do that." When I show up today, is this a burden to me? Oh my gosh, it is the highest, most... I have no words. This is I feel it is a calling. I feel it is my joy. It is my purpose. And it is so selfishly that I show up to recalibrate and connect with you and to share this moment, because it makes me vibrate. And sometimes I get emails from people, and I've heard it from some of you in the chat room here, where it's like that this experience has helped me. And has helped me to do things in the world. And it's not just to always sit around and actual kindness in the world, actual charities in the world. And again, I don't think life is about being charitable enough to fix the world. I think that when you clear yourself out, you find that being charitable is what you want to do. You want to help, you want to give, you want to gift. And even getting resources is so that you can fill your well so that you may give. That is a frequent mistake, I think, is when people, they know that they're here to give, but they forget that you have to keep your vessel healthy and energized. You got to fill the well before you can serve. Nobody is helped by someone who is sacrificing so much. That you need to take care of yourself mentally, spiritually, physically, so that you can be an agent of sharing goodness. Martyrs, that's not really helpful. And so, one of the most common things that people ask me about is, how they can fix something in their life or make some change. And the answer is almost always, you're in charge of fixing you. And if something is bothering you, that's probably because you have unresolved things about it. There are extreme examples where that's not the case. Obviously, there are some people that are... But even then, maybe dealing with someone who is constantly doing clearly annoying things to you, it's like, okay, one, why am I staying in this situation? You might have a reason. Why is it so annoying to me? Why did my life get connected to this person? What about me is doing that? It's all Scorpion and the Frog stuff. Everybody out there who's pissing you off is just a scorpion. So don't let them on your back. Or why did you let them on your back? Or why did you keep letting them on your back? And sometimes it's because you got a little bit of scorpion in you. And maybe you want to be forgiven for all the things you've given. Or maybe, who knows? All I'm saying is that the path is yours. The path is yours. And it's connected to everyone else. So that means sometimes your highest joy means making a sacrifice, because to not take others into consideration would cause you pain because you cause them pain. And that's, I think, the ideal state, is finding your highest joy as one people, one planet. And then you just seek joy as a representative of the one. Simple, right? Thank you for seeking your joy. I am relieved that ambassadors such as you walk the earth. I love you.